From the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery in Nashville, Tennessee, it's Gardening Inside Out, a podcast with highlights from our Saturday morning live show, answering all your gardening questions, giving you plant advice for any space in your life. Let's start the show.
Hey, y'all, it's Caroline.
And it's Tyler Blankenship.
And who is that in the room with us?
I don't know. I don't know who that is. Who is this? Well, oh, it's me. I'm back.
Wow,
Hey,
it's been so long since I've heard your voice.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I've heard my voice. But hey, it's Austin and I'm back.
You're back. We're
Yep.
glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Yes.
It is great to be back.
Yeah.
I've missed you both dearly.
We've
and all of
missed
your
you.
plant escapades. Is that the word? Yeah.
Plantscapades? We
Yes,
can,
there
we
you
can
go,
combine that.
Oh,
Yes.
that's what our stickers are going to say.
Yeah.
That we're finally going to make for Gardening Inside Out, Plantscapades.
Yes. And I've missed Tyler's puns. Thank you, Tyler, for that.
No problem.
Yes.
You'll get
Bringing
more.
it back.
It is great to be back.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing? How we doing? I'm here.
Doing good. I mean, for one, very happy to have you back in the room with us,
Thank
talking
you.
on the podcast. And the weather's been pretty nice, so that's also been a plus.
Yeah. It has.
The weather lifted. We've been busy.
Busy doing those things we really don't like to do, right? Well, I guess y'all, not me. I haven't really been here. I've been doing other things,
We've
man.
been doing other things.
Yeah,
I know.
It's been out and about,
Yeah.
learning the world,
Taking in the sights of the world.
trying to figure myself out.
You took that January vacay, baby.
Yeah, I did. But anyway, so y'all been doing what? I guess if you don't know garden centers, we're here in Middle Tennessee, Nashville, and this time of year, what, Caroline? It's all you. It is pottery.
It is pottery time. Y'all, we have gotten 3 different shipments of pottery in that we are breaking into slowly but surely. And we're about to get more statuary in too. So it's the time for heavy lifting.
It is. It's that off time of year to where nobody really thinks about it. Everyone loves the spring in garden centers. You can see plants, but no one sees the fertilizers, the dirt, the chemicals, the
tools.
pottery, the tools, all that stuff.
Our shining faces.
That's that too. That too. But this time of year, our faces aren't shiny.
Yes, they
more,
are.
No, they're more dull. We're putting up.
No, it might be cold, but we're still shining.
Speak for yourself.
You don't think so?
But anyway, yeah. So it's that time of year to get all that stuff set. So when spring comes, y'all can just pluck it right off the shelf.
You can also pluck it off the shelf now. We're here.
That's a good point.
We're putting stuff out. You get the first pick of the litter if you come on out.
That's true.
Get this pottery before we even put it on the shelves, and then we have to do less.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
But you know what I did do?
What?
Not here. On Monday, I planted over 40 plants,
40.
1 gallon to 7 gallon.
Good button click, Tyler.
Yes, 40.
What are you talking about?
40.
There's literally a live studio audience.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
they're sitting right there. How did you forget?
I don't know.
Wow.
It's been a while. It's been a while,
It's
okay?
been a minute. I can't
I'm
believe you
getting
can't
back.
see them in the corner, though.
So,
Whoa.
real quick, 40 plants.
Yep.
Who has just 40 plants just like chilling at their house and being like, I ain't planted these yet?
I do.
Caroline.
Plus, that's not all of them.
There's more. There's more than 40.
There's more.
Those were 40 small ones, right? Smaller.
1 gallon to 7 gallon. Yes.
Wow. Well, that's a lot of work.
And
How do
I
you feel?
transplanted some stuff. I dug stuff up, put them in new holes, and then put the plants that I had on my driveway into those holes. I
Well.
feel very accomplished. I feel like in the spring when everything starts to wake up, I'm going to be like, wow. And so are my neighbors because it's going to be a lot.
I guess if there's, a time of year to plant stuff, this is a good one. I mean, how was the digging? Pretty soft?
It was so easy. The ground was wet. I could get that shovel right on in there, make that hole, and just stick my plant in. Didn't even water anything in.
No.
It was so wet. And we're getting rain today.
I know. It's like most people that like know plants or whatever, nurserymen, whatever around the world, they'd be like, what do you mean you didn't water your plants? And that's like the most basic thing you have to do. Like you plant a plant, you water it
You
in.
water
That's
it
what
in.
you do. Well, y'all, not in Middle Tennessee in January and February.
wet.
Like it is, yeah. Sometimes you're planting in mud almost. Like you don't have to water them in.
In spots I was planting in mud. Now, I did water my camellias in. I planted 8 camellia plants, and I watered those in. Now, it was only, I had 4 1 gallons, and within those 4 gallons, I separated them because there were multiple plants in those 1 gallons.
Oh.
So I did a little cluster where I separated them, kept them close-ish, so they'll eventually grow together. But, so I guess it could be, I don't know if you would count that as 1 plant or 3.
Well, I mean,
Because I did separate. It was 3 separate holes, so.
hey, it's 3 plants, but you put them in the same hole and it ends up looking like 1 shrub.
That's true. And I put
This
them in
happens
3
all the time.
separate holes.
Yeah. We should talk about that a little bit. Like, that needs to be a practice that happens more.
Y'all, yeah, if you're listening and you're not super familiar with, nurseries buying plants, you don't really look at it. A lot of the time, there is more than one plant in your pot. Austin likes to do a fun thing where he'll get a Sawzall out and actually cut the root ball in half if it's root bound. We did that with a hawthorn that I bought, that I planted on Monday. It's been sitting on my driveway, but you Sawzalled that in half.
Yeah.
Because there were two plants grown together.
Well, it's because it's very, very common in the trade for, most of the time plants come from cuttings, okay? So we take cuttings of plants. It's a genetic clone of the mother plant. You stick those in the pot, they root, and then you have a new plant for the next season, okay? Well, most nurserymen are going to take a 3-gallon pot and they're going to put 3 cuttings in the same pot. They all grow together. They all form this, what looks like a one root system, plant. And then they grow into look like a full shrub. Even though there's 3 different plants in there, it looks like one. So why can't we do that in the ground? We can.
We can.
I'm doing it with blueberries. There.
Are you really?
Doing it.
Wait, you're putting more than one blueberry into the same hole?
Yes.
Wow.
Precisely. Yeah, why not? I mean, we all know. If you don't know, you do now that blueberries need a couple different varieties, multiple varieties, really.
I'm a big fan of this idea.
Well, yeah, why wouldn't you? It's like, a lot of times I'll say, so let's talk deciduous hollies for a minute. So hollies, as we all know, if it has berries, it's a female. If it does not have berries, for the most part, it's going to be a male, okay? So what I tell people a lot of times is they want a deciduous holly barrier. So they want all these red berries across all these dormant sticks over the wintertime. Deciduous hollies, they're beautiful, great for the wildlife, birds, all the good stuff, okay? But you got to have a male that's at least somewhat close. Well, that male is never going to produce berries for you because that's not what they do. Okay, they produce the pollen for the females to create the berries. So what I tell people to do is plant your whole line of hollies and then take a few males that you want to put in there and put them in the same hole as a couple of the other females. They all grow together. They end up forming a huge shrub, and then they still berry up consistently. So same way with my blueberries. I got 3 different varieties. They're going to pollinate with each other to produce fruit that I want. They're all going in the same hole. One big, large shrub. No.
Okay.
No, Lord, no. Although I did plant
Lord,
some
no.
stuff. Lord, no. But
So I've got a winterberry with a male, the Southern Gentleman. Should I put those in the same hole, or would that be too wild?
what do you mean?
Winterberry holly, the female and the male.
You put them in the same hole.
They're both
I just
so
said that, Caroline. Well, I mean, they get to be large anyway. I took a trip to Texas not too long ago, and I saw some crazy winterberry holly just on the side of the road in Arkansas. Just rough old flat rice field, Arkansas.
Yeah.
And then I saw deciduous hollies out in the front
Were
of
those
these
berries
fields.
popping?
Berries were popping.
Nice.
Yes.
Yes.
They call them berry poppins. Okay.
That is the name of one. Yeah,
It is. I
you're
know,
right.
so it's- yeah.
Berry Poppins.
But anyway, so yeah, but they get big. I mean, they're like small trees, really.
Yeah.
And don't cut deciduous hollies. Y'all let them be. Just let them be.
Yeah, I'm going to plant mine in a spot where they can go wild.
That's what you got to do. They want to get big, okay? But they're fantastic
In the
over
wood
winter.
line.
Now, during the growing season, like, deciduous hollies are kind of like, bleh.
Yeah.
They don't do it for me. It's like leafy, just stemmy, whatever. But over the winter, they're nice. Hey, Tyler, you're sitting over there, man.
You're
What
so
are you doing?
quiet.
Who
You
wants
are
a
so
leafy
quiet.
plant? Well, you guys are having a very lively conversation. If I interjected, it would just detract from it. And I was watching.
It's not true at all.
No. Tyler, give us your thoughts on deciduous holly. Why not? We're already on it.
I don't think very much about it until it's winter, and then those berries are glowing up and they look very beautiful.
Glowing up.
Glowing up.
Yes, Tyler.
There's some more. Just some more.
I mean, I like the orange or the yellowish berry one.
Those are cute.
Like, I don't know. So, as a strategy, I planted a coral bark Japanese maple against my fence. My fence is like old and gray. It has those bright red stems in winter. So when it is defoliated, the red stems pop against the dark backdrop.
It's great.
And like, I feel the same thing about those hollies. If you have them up against your house, up against something that's darker, the berries are going to pop. And you can also see them in a woodland in their natural environment just the same way.
Yep.
Probably why the birds love them so much. They're like,
can
yep,
find 'em.
that's my food.
Yeah.
There it is.
Just magnets.
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
I totally agree with you up against a dark wall for sure. And then also a white wall, too, like a white fence.
Yes.
Poppy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Straight poppy.
look at it go.
Poppy red berries. They're
Yeah.
great.
There's a lot of new houses that are built that are like white painted brick, you know?
Oh, yes.
Put you one up against that, a retaining wall.
Uh-huh.
Boom.
And
Just
it
give it
looked great.
space.
Exactly.
I was happy to finally buy one. I've been wanting one for a real long time. I got the orange berries.
Yeah. And
Now-
you know, the way you use it is fantastic, like as a good, like kind of woodline barrier. That's kind of like it's that native kind of feel, like it's got that. But hey, think about this for a second. What if we cornered one up on the end of our white home and tree formed that thing? Single stem up to like 4 feet and then a canopy So that's like your tree form focal at the end.
I'm about it.
I don't hate it.
I'm
yeah.
about it.
I kind of like it.
Now,
Okay.
would
I'm
the
not going to
branches
plant it on the corner
start
of my white
weeping?
home, though.
They won't weep that much, no. I've never really seen one. There is weeping Yopon holly, which is kind of a cool plant too.
Yeah.
That's a totally different
That
ball
one's
game.
cool,
but,
yeah, but different.
but yeah, most deciduous or winterberry holly is
They're so upright.
very much upright in
Yeah.
growth habit.
You know, some of them are like a fountain where like the branches will go up, but they, they'll kind of lean over a little bit. But I just, you mentioned leaves. Like I can't really imagine the leaves on them in the growing season. They just don't stick out to me.
Well,
No,
exactly.
they don't.
Join
They're
the
just-
club.
They just look a shrub in the woods.
Yeah,
But
just
a
little-
tree
what they
form, maybe, and if you plant it just solitary to where it pops, and doesn't blend in with everything else, because it's hard to single
they-
things out here on the nursery
They
lot.
do push up little shoots, right, from the ground.
Yes, they sucker bad.
Yeah.
They make what we would call like a stand.
Yeah.
So that can be annoying.
So
It's
you'd
kinda
have to
like-
keep up with that.
Yeah, you got to straight trim
And then
those
you live in your house until the day you die and you're really old and you have to get out there when you're 90 and keep on cutting those shoots.
No, you get
Wow.
the 15-year-old Eric down the street.
I think of these things when
think
I'm
of
like,
when you're
do
90?
I plant this close to my home? Because when I'm 90, I'm not going to want to be out there maintaining this.
You got to maintain at least something, Caroline. Okay.
Wait, I maintain a lot. I'm not saying I don't want to maintain it right now,
Isn't
but I
gardening
think of my future, and I'm like, how hard is it going to be to maintain this
When you're 90.
when I don't want to get up?
What's
and down?
not going to be hard when you're 90?
You keep gardening is the secret of longevity.
There you go,
y'all.
Tyler.
I'm going to be
Just keep
gardening
it up.
forever, but I don't want to be cutting those suckers out every single year. So I'm putting mine in the wood line where
I get it.
where they're naturally
Yep, they'll make a stand.
where they naturally live.
No, you're right. Up next to the home, they would certainly have need
But I
some-
do
some
want to
pruning.
see a tree form one. So you do it,
Okay, done.
please.
Done.
Will you really?
Yeah, I'll do it. You know what I'll even do?
You're
I'll,
saying
I'll,
yes
I'll go
right
one
now.
better.
All of our listeners
Wow.
are hearing you.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll do it. You give me this plant, I'll do it. Really, you know what I'm going to do? One better. I'm going to tree form a female winterberry holly and then ring up down below it 3 males that I'm going to keep hedged up
Southern
tight.
gentlemen's,
The Southern gentlemen's.
please do
Down
the
at the
Southern
bottom.
gentlemen's.
Keep them hedged tight. It's going to be a scene.
I can't buy you all of that.
Okay, well then. Sorry, listeners.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
Well, I guess let's move on. I did do something. You
what-
planted over 40 plants. You just like
did.
stole the show.
Happens
40
sometimes.
something plants. That's insane. I planted 5.
Well, I'm proud of you for that.
Thanks.
Hey,
I
that's
had-
5 more than anyone does in a certain day,
it's a good point.
just,
I guess.
on their own.
But they were all little 1 gallons. And honestly, I got my 6-year-old daughter to plant 3 out of the 5.
Nice.
So that was good. I only had to do 2. And you know what it was?
What did you?
Oh, yeah.
You're about to tell us.
3 chrysanthemums. Can you believe this?
That is
Now,
one
listen,
of my
listen.
favorite perennials.
Okay, all you pumpkin spice people out there, don't like get all crazy on me. It's not like your mums you think about for the fall bushel baskets.
What
and we're
about
going
us people?
pumpkins.
If
Don't
you're
think
new to
about
this
those.
podcast, Tyler loves pumpkin
He
spice.
does, and his tight little mums atop of that foliage where you see nothing but color.
I'd never grow mums.
But these are different mums, people. These are like what we would call heirloom mums.
Heirloom mums.
Oh, your
Super cool,
perennial
y'all. I
ones?
don't know if y'all know, but like heirloom mums are super trendy right now amongst the wedding
They're a
crowd.
great cut flower, and I mean, they turn into a shrub. Y'all have heard me talk about my Sheffield pink that I have. I love it.
So I got 2 that were called peach, and then one that was just called red. Now I don't think the red's going to be like super vibrant red. It's
I
going to be
doubt
like
it.
pastel-y. But
That's your kind of.
that's what's in. I do what's in.
You-
I don't know if you knew that.
You are so trendy. Y'all.
Yeah.
Austin is always with the trends, always with the time. He reads all of the magazines to stay up on it.
True.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Heirloom mums, yeah, if you don't know, they're all the rage.
They are.
I got like 8 different wedding venues that are contracted with me.
Now that's a lie.
You're right, that's a lie. But 3 little mums are going to do it for me, okay? And then
They are. It's going to turn into a shrub.
It's 3, yeah. One. We talk about 3 things in the same hole. Like I pretty much put them close, and they're gonna
I
look
can't
like
wait
one
to see
big
a
shrub.
picture.
I'm very excited. Very excited. And then also I'm very excited.
You
about,
look excited right
I
now.
am. These
So excited that his headphones are falling off,
they're
y'all.
right off. And then next there was another thing I planted. And I can't remember any at the moment. Oh, it was a
Was it a phlox? Did you
negative.
get- Nope.
It was the one you like. It's blue.
Stokes aster.
Platycodon. Is that platycodon? Yeah, I think so. No.
I don't know. I don't
No.
think so.
Stokesia. Excuse me. The Stokes aster.
Where'd you plant that?
In the same area ish.
So you're going to have a little perennial stand.
It's a whole thing. That's I've told you. I've been trying to do this. make up my perennial game. I got a lot of shrubs and flowering things and trees and whatever.
You needed more perennials.
Needed more perennials, okay?
You're going to be in love with that Stokes aster.
I'm
late
excited
spring,
about it.
early
You haven't
summer.
talked about something very important that you did yet.
Uh-oh.
You tidied
You
up
sound
your
so serious.
juniper.
Oh, I did do
You're
that.
all gold.
I didn't.
All
I did know
gold.
that. Yeah.
I sent you a picture.
You did. It was so square.
I actually
love
made a
it.
video. I made
You turned it into a little like cake loaf.
It was a little juniper cake loaf. I like that, Tyler. So yeah, I did make a couple videos. It was just random me out in the yard with my phone, just like talking into it, you know, like thinking that'd be cool.
I think we should put this up on the Gardening Inside Out Instagram.
We'll do that.
You send that to me after we're done with this this recording, and I'm going to get it up for all of our listeners to see.
All right, cool. We'll throw it up on the YouTube, whatever.
We'll put it
whatever
up.
we got to do.
Yeah.
But I had, my all gold juniper, which you grow at the house. You sent me pictures of yours,
I
which
did.
yours are doing fantastic. You're doing what they should do. You spaced them properly.
I did space mine more than you did.
Yes, you did, and you planned for growth. I did not. Now I knew they would grow. Mm-hmm. You know, I knew they'd be way too big, but I knew that I could cut the leg out. Okay,
Yeah.
so I went in and I cut them, and I wanted it square, a formal little square, and it worked out great.
It's super cute. It's
It is
very
cute.
square, and I love it.
I'm proud of it. It took
Yeah,
a while.
you should
Very
be.
pokey. My arms still hurt. My fingers and hands are bloody right now, literally. Just
They're
3 days
bleeding
later.
right now as we
Yeah.
sit here. No,
Actively
they're not.
bleeding.
They're not bleeding.
Look at this. It's actively bleeding.
It is bleeding.
See?
All right. Well,
Wow.
you heard it here.
Please don't bleed
Austin's
all over
hands.
the green room.
Okay.
Thanks.
Man, it's great to be back. Sure missed you guys.
We missed you. It's so good to have your
I'm
energy
sure
back in this room.
I'm sure our listeners are loving this right now.
Well, I hope so. I hope
Thanks.
they're ready to get to planting because it's almost time. I was thinking about it.
Monday was crazy. I was texting with Bridget on Monday and I was texting with you guys, but Bridget and I were talking about how we both have spring fever because it got warm. Austin just put on some safety glasses and distracted me.
It's because I'm bleeding.
Keep your eyes safe. But we were just like, can't get too ahead of ourselves. I know it's 72 degrees outside right now, but it's not springtime.
It's not yet, but
No.
we are close, y'all.
And it's still a great time to plant. I mean, you heard us talk about it this whole intro just now. Get out there and plant you some perennials and shrubs.
I just want
and
to
trees. I planted trees too.
I want to add we're heading into spring. Yeah, the past sucks, I guess. But
What?
well, I'm just thinking about the recent cold temperatures we just had. The actual winter. That was like wintry than the other winter stuff that we've had before. And I just want to comment, sometimes David will say, in the winters of 1977 and 78, the soil actually froze.
Uh-huh.
And you could still plant though. He would just chop through the frozen soil layer on the top. It's like a crust.
Yeah.
And then keep digging. Well, that happened here. This just a couple weeks ago. The soil froze. The top layer did. And I was seeing online, people actually said that this winter was comparable to those winters, which that was like a living memory kind of thing. So, you know, if you've just recently moved to the Middle Tennessee area or just experienced that phenomenon, it's not that common.
No.
And usually things are pretty workable here. So I just wanted to say, and now everything's like thought out enough that it's a great time
It is.
to
It
get
is.
planting.
Mhm.
Get out there and get planting.
If you can find it, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the
If
thing
you
now.
can find
I mean,
one.
we're one of the biggest nurseries in the state, so we still have a good amount of stuff left over from last year, but we haven't even started getting our like new trucks
Well,
in.
some garden centers are closed.
Exactly.
A
Where
lot
I used to
closer
work,
now.
yeah, we would close for the whole month, 2 months, January, February, pretty much gone. But not
So
here.
we never close.
We
We
never
don't
did.
ever close.
We're
And
still
we are
here.
pretty stocked. And you can come see everything. Like everything is undercover except for our tree lot
Mhm.
and our conifers.
Yep.
So you can come walk through little greenhouses that aren't heated, but with the sun out, it heats it up. So it stays a lot warmer in there than it is outside.
One of the
nice
most
walk.
important parts, soil. You can get your beds prepped. You can get dirt. You can top them off, stir it up, and mulch it over.
Oh yeah, compost, lime, nitrogen,
it up
all
and
that good
mulch
stuff
it
for the
over.
veg garden.
That
I gotta
is
get my
what-
veg garden going.
That is what I did
I need to be doing
this
that.
weekend.
Uh-huh.
I got
Oh,
one of my
yeah,
beds.
You got your bed ready. You sent us that picture.
Yes. I used a weed eater tiller attachment
Hey,
and I put 2 bags of the Earth Mix landscape soil in the top and just literally mixed it in like I was baking a cake
yes,
to bring it back to baking.
Yes.
bake that cake.
And once it was all mixed up, then I would love to actually bake the soil into an edible morsel, but I guess the the analogy is just plants. Plants are the food that I bake.
There you go.
You bake a lot. Mm-hmm. You cook a lot.
Mulched it with pine straw. It looks really good. I can't wait. I'm going to sow some walking onions in it
Hey.
Oh,
that I got from
that's
somebody
exciting.
at the Tennessee Local Food Summit. So, very exciting.
That'll be fun.
Nice.
Hey, you know what else is very exciting? I need to talk about real quick. And that is this year we're getting something different. Okay. We just talked about all the new stuff we're getting in this year, you know, the new varieties, cultivars, all the stuff that comes out from all the different vendors. It's all great. One thing we're doing this year is we are actually buying from a new vendor who grows nothing but roses. But listen, old school roses, Hybrides, Grandifloras, the Floribundas, all those really cool ones. But only the ones that survived in the Middle Tennessee area very, very well. I'm very excited about this.
I love that.
He's a buddy of mine. His name is Dylan. We went to college together. Shout out Dylan. He has spent his whole career taking care of roses in the kind of fancy parts of town around here. That's all he ever does. Literally sees properties every single week, most of the time every day for like different, you know, people to go out and take care of their roses. Because if you don't know, in Middle Tennessee, roses are extremely hard.
They're
It is
so hard to grow here and have look good.
Exactly. It's not a set it and forget it plant at all. Like roses take work here. So that's what he did for a living. Well, he decided, I'm going to take all those roses that I know do really well in Middle Tennessee, and I'm going to grow those, and I'm going to sell them to y'all.
I love that. Where's he out of? Is he out of Nashville?
He's 5 minutes up the road. Yep.
Wow.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
basically our neighbor.
Yep. I'll call him right now. If you want me to.
Go ahead, call him. Let's bring him in.
No, he ain't ready yet. He's just getting his roses probably stuck at this point, probably getting them in pots. They're going to be chilling dormant for a minute. They'll be leafing out in his greenhouse. You know, most of the growers that grow roses can't wait for the weather to get big enough, you know, or nice enough for them to ship out the roses when they need to. We need them first week of April, okay?
Oh, everyone goes wild. They keep calling the nursery and they're like, are the roses here yet? Are the roses
Yeah.
here yet?
This is
Especially
fairly exciting.
this guy.
Yes.
I mean, Rose Day is like
Rose Day is your favorite.
it's the best.
Yeah,
It
we
is.
should actually live stream, strap a GoPro
I really think-
facing
yeah.
Austin's face so everyone can see when that truck pulls in and then when those doors open and you get to see.
All right, that's a great idea. Tyler, make that happen.
It's a bit like a ritual. And him and Pedro, it's like synchronized swimming or something.
It's
or,
fantastic.
Or choreographed dancing,
Yeah.
if you will.
Beautiful.
They're both like in love. They're entranced by the roses.
We are.
And also their brothership,
We're
their
speaking
friendship.
in tongues. You know, I've got broken Spanish. He's got broken English, but it mends.
You
and
guys
it
communicate
works.
perfectly.
Yeah, we do.
It's astounding watching the
great.
two of you unload the rose truck together.
It's so good.
Your
But anyway-
languages may be broken, but together
You are whole.
You fix each other whole.
It's true. Okay, but anyway, so you know,
Wow.
tried and true Tennessee roses coming.
So
this
if they
year,
didn't
okay?
do
Tried and
good,
true Tennessee roses.
if they didn't do good at a fancy person's house, he doesn't grow them.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we
Okay.
see those ones. We scout as horticulturalists. We scout. We look at those roses that get black spot super easy. We look at the ones that get downy mildew super easy, or powdery mildew, or have a bloom that's not like all that great in the summer heat. You know, and then we find those ones that we really like. Those ones that have those massive petal counts, 55 petals or more, with a fragrance that's unlike any other, citrusy, deep rose.
Floral.
Yeah. And all
one.
of that good stuff. We look for all the good stuff. We look for all the bad stuff. And we don't grow the bad things. We only grow the good ones. And that's what's coming here to Middle Tennessee spring 2025.
That
people.
is actually very, very exciting.
What's the
very
name of his
exciting.
operation? Is it Dylan's Delights?
It's Dylan's Rose Delight. Yeah. It's
Okay.
No, that's not it at all, Tyler. I don't know if he's got a name yet. He's brand new. Okay.
Well, we'll let everyone know when they arrive and what the name is.
Oh, yeah. We're going to GoPro it on my face and stuff.
Yes,
right?
we are.
Tyler's making that happen somehow. Yeah.
It's done. It's already
See?
done.
Already done.
Yeah, there's already a GoPro on your face.
Nice.
It's already happening. Well, I guess maybe it's time to get into this week's broadcast.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm just getting a groove, man. I'm so happy to be back.
We're so happy to have you back.
We would love to keep going, and we may on a separate occasion than the introduction to the show, but we do need to get to the questions.
You do. Now, we did have a little mishap with David's microphone this go around. So he's going to be in the broadcast just a little bit. And if you hear some echoing,
It's not you.
it's not you, it's
It's
us,
us.
and it's not going to last long. So stick with it. It was a great broadcast. We had Ben Trest on the show this week. Did a great job. Always good to have him on. But go ahead and enjoy.
I think we're all getting ready for spring. Feels like we've been on ice for a little while, so it's
Well, and it's not spring, folks.
No, it's not. You can't think it is.
No.
The
It won't
plants
stay up.
might think it is. Hopefully not.
yeah.
But I plan on Monday when it's going to be nice and warm, planting all of the stuff that I have sitting on my driveway.
And we are working on that this weekend at the proving grounds.
Is it the pool stuff that you're working on, or just other planting
We don't want to talk about the pool.
Okay. Touchy subject.
But I have to move the ones that I put in the wrong spot last year. But goodness gracious,
Your eclipse hydrangeas?
Yeah, my hydrangeas. I have to move those tomorrow. I've got some stuff that I need to get in the ground too. Got a gardenia in the basement.
Are you going to plant it this week?
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Okay, get them in, get them going.
I don't know. It might be a little cold for that one.
The
Hydrangeas
might be okay.
Or gardenias, yeah. They're just a little marginal here, so it might be shocked going from the warm to cold.
Okay, good idea.
Would be a thought of mine. I don't know. I might wait until springtime when we're not going to get any more hard freezes.
Okay.
Because it's so cozy in the basement right now.
It's glorious down there. It's got all the supplemental light that it could need.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not too.
How cold is it?
In the basement?
60?
Closer to 50, probably 54, 55. And I don't have a temperature gauge.
It might be warmer outside.
It will be.
Yeah, it will be, but then it won't be. It's the thing. Will be, and then it won't be. But yeah, I have probably about 40 plants. I don't think I'm going to get to
gardenia?
all of them.
I meant camellia.
Oh, you did say gardenia, or maybe I just heard gardenia.
No, I think I said gardenia.
That's what I heard.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not crazy. Thank you, David.
Okay.
I mean, similar boat. It might be
that is
close.
not a certification that you're not crazy. You heard.
That is very true. So let's go ahead and dive into them. We've got quite a few today. All right, the first one, I really enjoy this question. What projects are you all doing in your gardens right now?
We hit a little bit of that, but personally, like I said, it will be an ongoing saga through the year of 2025 about the replacement of the pool and what goes out there. But that project starts tomorrow too. But we're not in any way, shape, or fashion ready for plants yet.
I thought we weren't going to talk about that, Josh.
Well, people wanted to know.
That's true. They do want to know what your plans
It's a good
are
time
right
to
now.
start thinking.
Well, we've been thinking,
Or at least
okay. Now, I
get through
think
with thinking.
what I think and what the project manager thinks are two completely different things. So I'm sure we'll be doing what she wants. So it's okay. But the first thing is that the 30-foot above ground pool is got to go away, and the deck is probably.
You already had that one out of the way, Josh.
Well, we were delayed because there was a certain, sometimes when you just can't let something go, David. We have to think it to absolute death before we absolutely accept reality.
Otherwise it'll die an unnatural death.
Yes, and that if we wait any longer, we could run a chance. It could be mosquitoes and tadpoles growing in the.
Oh, that's bad. I had an above ground pool and I hated
timing
it.
is-
Mine was 30 foot across, but I told you what I did. It made a very nice patio.
Yes,
I
did
put
the
a lot
same.
of flat rocks that I pulled from my property into the
Yes.
sand, have a fire pit in the
Yeah.
middle, and a garden all
I mean,
around it.
nowadays, like pickleball court probably be the more popular alternative.
There you
to replace
go.
on top of a pool.
No. No. We were talking about a shuffleboard or bocce ball.
Ooh.
That bocce came out, so I don't know if it's big enough to do a bocce court, though. I think they
Be
have
nice
to
and compact.
Be a small one, a miniature one. That'd be fine.
Aren't they? Don't they have to be 120, 100 feet?
No idea. I've never played
Pretty
before.
long. Yeah. Pretty long. Yeah.
But bocce would work, and the older you get, that's probably more in my speed than pickleball.
I also have never played that.
Uh-huh.
But I have a lot of projects I'm working on, like planting all of the things on my driveway for one, but also I'm really working on cleaning up my vegetable and herb garden beds. I've built a few new raised beds out of some cedar planks. Now I just have to sink them in the ground and fill them with earth mix. So
Yeah. I've been setting out things that are due to be planted, and now's a good time for me because everything's so, died back, and you get a nice clean view of everything, and kind of setting stuff out, and maybe thinking about creating new beds. That's where the work goes in, is going from grass to bed. But
I actually sowed red clover over my
Did you?
ground. What do I do with it? Do I just let it die back? Do I just till it in? Do I pull it up? I mean,
is it on a lawn?
no, it's in a
in
raised
your
bed.
bed. Tyler does
You do?
cover crops. He did red clover one year. I haven't done it before.
There's a difference. There's crimson clover and then red clover.
Well, there were okay. Well, I bought the seeds
Well, that's
here.
confusing.
So yeah, no, I think it's red clover. I believe is what I got.
Red clover, from what I understand, is a warm season cover crop, and then crimson clover is the one you sow in fall and let it overwinter.
It's doing great.
So you might have gotten crimson
well,
clover if
good.
it was here.
I mean,
Because we usually sell our seeds seasonally.
But I mean, do you just let it bloom and then till it in?
That's right.
Okay.
I think some people even just cut it down, bush hog it, and let it sit. But I
Wow.
think tilling you get a little quicker. I bet you dig some of those up and you'll see the nodules on the roots. The little nitrogen fixing nodules. That's always neat to see.
Ooh, dig it up and see. Take a picture. Bring it in.
We will.
Show and tell.
We will.
We love a good show and tell. While we're talking about that show and tell, just a little reminder for those of you who are maybe newer viewers or forgot the email. If you ever have photos of things that you're proud of in your garden beds or any problems that you want to send to us so we can take a look at it and show it on the show, gardeninginsideout@gmail.com is the email address to send that to. If you don't want us to show it on the show, but you want some feedback, you can also just put that in your email, like this is for your eyes only.
Yes.
So if you're like, I don't know if I'm ready to be actually on the broadcast, we will still answer your questions via email, DMs, wherever you want to get a hold of us. But
how about we ask for some bright, shiny faces? Because all we see are names. Again,
so we want headshots from all of our viewers, is what you're saying?
Yes. Send them in so we know who's. Now, see, I don't have the advantage of working here at the nursery during the week and seeing all the good customers that come out here. So let's get some headshots in there too.
We'd love to see all the headshots that you all have.
Take a selfie with a plant.
Although we could look at their profiles on Facebook if they
we
are
could,
following
but that's
us there.
kind of like stalking. So I don't.
I guess you're right. All right, so go ahead and also send your headshots on in to gardeninginsideout@gmail.com. But let's go ahead and get to another question. We've got one about native seeds. Is there anywhere I can get milkweed and native seeds from, even for free, for my garden? I will tell you that last week, was it Pam? Was it Joyce? Was talking about getting rid of her, was it milkweed? I've just said was it so many times. So you could get with her and go dig some up if you want some free plants.
TDOT had a program last year. I think they were giving seeds
They were giving away milkweed as well.
Sometimes there's local seed shares.
Yeah.
I know we carry Roundstone here at Bates, which is in Kentucky, I believe.
It's,
fairly close
fairly
enough
local.
to local. And they're a big native seed distributor. So.
Yeah, they've got a really good website where you can go and search like specifically your area, if it's wet or dry, full sunshade, what kind of habitat you're looking to create. So check them out, Roundstone Seed. I'm actually about to order some bulk seed to create a little wildflower field in the back of my property. Yeah, so they're great.
Yeah.
We're about to get more seeds in from them here. I'm very excited. They
It's
should
worth
be
a
here
shot.
any day.
It can be pretty easy. You may not end up with a full prairie in 1 year, but it's worth a shot.
It might take about 3 or so, but yeah. All right, I believe I was talking with you about this yesterday, and Tyler, I guess it'd be the day before, but when can I lay pre-emergent for crabgrass in Nashville? Is it too soon to do it now?
You can't do it until the 1st of February by state law. Yeah. So,
well, what's today?
Yeah, it's 1st of February. So,
yeah. I mean, usually it usually has like 3 months of effectiveness. So
we usually went back in the day when we talked quite a bit about lawn care. It was February for a first pre-emerge, and then later in the season, David always was a fan of having a second application of it. So.
It's really hard to time it just right for one application. Yeah.
None of it works well in the bag, though. So
you got to get out there at 3:30 and get to work. All right. So back around to like our seed talk that we just had. Pam chimed in and said, I have bulbs everywhere, and then says, will be planting soon.
Yep.
I also still have quite a few tulip and daffodil bulbs that I don't have in the ground just yet that I need to be getting in there. And yes, Pam said, I will give you some milkweed. So I will actually connect those to viewers, listeners, to make sure y'all can get those milkweed out and, dug up. So, Pam, you won't have to do any work, and someone will get those for free.
You might end up with some sort of special variety if they're open pollinated. Who knows? You might discover a new milkweed.
Oh, that would be cool. I love milkweed. I have it everywhere. Yeah. All right. Will you explain which applications you'd use Earth Mix Garden for and which for landscape? I use landscape for like I like to use it in containers. I talk about that a lot. And I also will amend my soil with it. Now I use garden for my raised beds or like big plantings in ground that I need to really fill a lot of space and bulk it up with.
Yeah, and I mean, you get a lot more garden, for the same cost. I mean, landscape, I think, is a little more... It's a little more directed towards a certain use, but I think they can both be used for similar things.
I don't get real worried if I don't have any garden and I happen to have landscape.
Sure.
Or vice versa. So, but
the only thing, I just wouldn't use garden in my containers, in my pots.
Probably not.
Yeah. Gardening Inside Out is brought to you by Earth Mix Garden Products, creating regionally sourced high-quality soil blends and amendments for the sustainable-minded gardener. Fall and winter are great times to plant in the Southeast, and Earth Mix can help you with Landscape Soil Conditioner. Mix Landscape with your native soil to feed all winter long. Added mycorrhizal fungi help your plants get established faster and increase hardiness through the year ahead. Visit earthmix.net for more information and retailers near you. Remember, success begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix Garden Products. I'm about to get at least one full truckload, probably 2 of garden to fill my new raised beds.
Oh, yeah.
And I need to bulk up some of my existing in-ground beds. So I'm very excited about that. It will be time soon. I mean, I don't want to be doing it in spring when it's starting to warm up, and then I need to get stuff in the ground, and I'm having to frantically do everything at the same time.
Get all sweaty and dirty.
Get all sweaty. Yeah, we don't need that. That's
No.
going to be later on. So I want to take my time getting into everything, and
You want to enjoy the flowers in the spring, too.
I want to enjoy the flower. Yes, if you get your hard labor done now, when you can do it, then you get your seeds sown, you get your starts in the ground.
Yeah.
Then you can just walk around and enjoy those flowers instead of being like, oh my gosh, I still have to do so many things.
Right.
But speaking of flowers, we got a fantastic question in from Joyce. Joyce says, have any of you winter sowed poppy seeds? I've been watching videos about sowing them in the snow. Yes, I grow poppies. I sow them in the winter. I don't know if I've ever actually sowed them in the snow, but that does make sense. If you've seen poppy seeds before, which I'm sure most of you have, they're tiny. So they really just need to be scattered on the top of the ground and then really, really pressed in. I love all the poppies. I have a lot of different varieties, and they actually start coming up early winter. The leaves start coming up. So I have my poppies are up right now. Obviously, they're not blooming. They will be blooming like mid-spring. But yeah, I'd say, Joyce, get you some seeds and go for it. You missed the snow. We might get some more, but who is that?
That's me.
Josh.
I'm sorry.
There's a little fairy in the room, Josh.
It's the watch.
Continue,
His,
please.
Tyler, we're continuing.
Okay.
That's just the noise of excitement about poppies.
And
but yeah, Joyce, come here, see me, and get you some seeds.
Absolutely. Now, good luck. I have tried and tried and have never had any success with them. It's one of my favorite flowers.
Now, did you grow them from seed or did you grow them from starts? From starts, they can be really, really tricky. I've tried them from starts, and I don't actually know if I've had them take. They flowered a little bit more and then petered off in the summer because they don't like a lot of that. And well, it depends on the type of poppy you have.
Right.
But once we get really, really hot here, they kind of...
I find they do okay in shade, or at least, high shade, like
Really?
under tall trees. Might protect them a little bit in the summer.
But
mine are in full sun. Maybe we need to have an in-depth conversation about this.
Possibly
Josh.
Because now if you see them in the wild in, say, Sicily, or Tuscany, there's nothing like a beautiful field
of poppies.
Oh,
I have good luck with California poppies. Those are the ones that I sow. I sow those closer to spring, but my Oriental poppies are the ones that are perennial here that I started from seed. I did scatter those in the winter, and I think this is the 4th year that I've had them. And I mean, all I did was scatter them, water them in, really press them in. So once we got more rain, those seeds did not wash away, and they took. They're in full sun, close to my house, so they get a lot of heat from the house. But yeah, they're fantastic. This next question is a good question for Ben. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Ready.
Ben, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Which ornamental grass would go best in a narrow, rocky area by a pool deck? No, bringing back the pool.
Yeah, I mean, we're surrounded by switchgrass, which
We are.
is usually our go-to for narrow. Now, it can be underestimated how wide they can get. I mean, they can get 4 or 5, maybe more wide in a clump, but they tend to stand up, so you can keep them. Also, miscanthus maiden grass is a real popular one, but those tend to be fairly round. So switchgrass would probably be my primary choice. Now, you could do some oddball things like blue stem, which don't get as wide, and those will kind of have a nice little vertical pop on them. Pampas grass, but those things turn into monsters.
Yeah, and they also will cut you if you walk by them too close. They reach out and they're like, I find, and I know Austin talks about this all the time, the Northwind switchgrass. I have that, and it just seems to be way more upright and cleaner than some of the other types of switchgrass.
And keeping it clean. If you're around a pool and say you've got nice rock mulch, keeping that clump clean keeps them a little more upright. If you start getting weeds in there, they'll kind of open up a little bit.
They pop a lot of seeds, though. A lot of
you looked at that one right there.
Because, I mean, seeds, pool, you keep in mind, you're going to have to get them out of the pool at some point in time, too. So, I mean, I love it around
That
the
is
pool.
true. Yeah. I feel like, though, they stay on pretty well. Like, even in heavy winds.
You can cut them back maybe early. Before we get into winter, make sure you cut them back before those seeds start going.
Look how gorgeous they are in the winter.
Yes, they are beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the winter interest. I've talked about this all the time for
the paloofy
for our
ones,
grasses.
yes, in particular.
Yeah, I do have pampas grass planted out kind of in my yard away from where I'm going to walk, and that one also looks good in the winter. Yeah. Yes, it is. Oh, they get huge. I made the mistake when one of my older homes that I lived in, I planted one on either side of my sidewalk right at the street, and they looked great for the first season. They got so big year 2 that you couldn't walk up the stairs and down the sidewalk. I would just have to go around to get into my house.
Or you get eaten alive.
Because you'd be walking through a curtain of pampas grass and you would get, eaten alive. You'd get all cut up.
Put your chaps on before you go out the door.
Yeah, I would have chaps to go.
My backdoor neighbor, you know when it's time, when he's cutting it back, because you hear this string of bad words coming from across the fence. So it's always... He runs them in paragraphs during that period of time. So
I say switchgrass.
Okay, switchgrass.
Yeah, switchgrass. I feel like my vote would be switchgrass as well. You said blue stem. Yeah. Blue stem is also great, but I feel like it does have it's a little heavier with the seed pods. Hey, Joyce did comment, I heard that poppies don't transplant well. Yes, I fully agree with that. Like I was talking about with poppy starts, I just haven't had good luck with starting them in the ground from starts as opposed to seeds. Yeah. So
don't let my bad luck dissuade you guys from giving it a try either, folks.
I mean, one seed packet is like $3. Yeah. You know, you can get one, you can get a few, scatter them, and then see what happens. But I would say now is the time to go ahead and do it if you want to do it, Joyce. So get out here and get you some seeds. Yep. All right. I think it's time for a little segment that I know Ben has been preparing for, at least in his mind.
Like I said, the goat.
Oh, wow. You even hit the jazz pose with that music cue.
Yeah. The goat. I'm ready to take over and put my 2 cents in on the goat.
Oh, gosh, what's it going to be?
Has he done viburnum yet?
I don't think so.
I just have to say it, and I'm not going to get specific, but viburnum is typically just generally a large shrub, huge genus of plants. And so there's a lot of viburnums out there for you, and the reason it's the goat is there are a ton of different forms, a lot of different bloom shapes. There are evergreen ones, non-evergreen ones, and almost all of them are pretty rugged, and the range on them is, should be as far north as Canada, if not into Canada, and then we get them pretty far south as well. So a good, really tough shrub, viburnum, I tell people to look into it. You could buy a book on viburnum if you really want to dive in, but there's a lot of them, and you can fit them in almost any garden, mainly they're used as a large kind of border plant or like a loose screen plant, big for habitat, wildlife. So just viburnum species in general, there's just a ton to find out there and really rugged.
Sorry. Joyce had a comment that I'll read after you're done with your segment. It got me a little tickled. But what would your favorite viburnum be? I mean, there's so many different kinds out there. I have a few. I've got popcorn. I love that one. It's got these little cluster blooms in the spring. And then I always want to call it Burlmarxii because that's a houseplant name. And Austin always corrects me, but now I can't remember what the name is.
Birkwood?
Birkwood.
Yeah, so Birkwood viburnum, which is a hybrid, it's really high on my list for the fragrance. I mean, the fragrance is just show-stopping. And I don't like all fragrances, but that's just the right mix of sweet and perfumey. Some of them aren't fragrant, but I really do like those. I love the Shasta daisies, which I believe Popcorn's a Shasta daisy.
Oh, okay.
And they kind of have nice flat blooms, good substitutes for hydrangea. If
you're over hydrangea.
If you've gone through the gamut of hydrangea and you're getting sick of them because you have so many of viburnum's a nice kind of step that gives you a similar bloom season,
pace,
but a totally different texture.
Right.
Yeah. So they're awesome. There's native viburnums, a ton of those actually, if you're trying to reestablish habitat. So awesome place for you to dive in. You can go real deep, kind of like Japanese maples or, any of those plants where there's just a ton of options. You can really kind of go wild. And, I have to hold myself back.
You do. I see your face when those viburnums
A lot of
start coming off that
deer-resistant
truck.
plants, which is great for me. It means I don't have to worry about them.
Viburnum is very deer resistant?
A lot of them are. Yeah,
Really?
they're so stemmy and so vigorous that it's not really something they have a palate for.
Yeah, and my
I got a couple of points I might add in there while we're on it. Two, Viburnum opulus better known as old-fashioned snowball. It is a deciduous type of viburnum. Another one, for personal reasons, Viburnum Davidii, which is not hardy. It's not reliable.
Oh, they're beautiful, though.
You can't use that one here, but it's a beautiful plant. You might sneak it by for a few years if you gave it some protection.
But then you might lose it. That would be sad.
But I mean, English, Japanese style, there's a ton of different ways you can go with them. So it's a good tool to have in your palette, I think, if you're looking for some new paintbrushes of plants to throw in there.
It's a great one. And my, now I forgot the name again.
Popcorn?
Birkwood. Why can't I remember that one? The fall color on that one specifically, because like I said, I have a few and they don't really throw that much fall color. I mean, they'll have a little bit, but this one had like bright yellows, reds, and orange.
Some of them
and
get
it's
that
still
kind of
holding on
red.
to its leaves. So I'm a big fan. I also have that one planted in fairly heavy shade. I mean, it gets dappled sun throughout the day, but it really doesn't get that much direct
really don't
sunlight, and I
care.
still
They'll
get
take it
blooms.
all.
It loves it,
Yeah,
and
so
I love it, and I love that
It'll make
talk
you
about
feel like you have a
viburnum.
green thumb, so that's why I always recommend
So
them.
get you some viburnum.
Additional support for Gardening Inside Out is brought to you by Bates Nursery and Garden Center, a third-generation nursery located in Nashville, Tennessee, and 20-time recipient for Nashville's Best Garden Center, offering the widest selection of new arrivals for fall, like specimen conifers, Japanese maples, and pansies in nearly every color. Open year-round, minutes from the heart of Nashville in beautiful Whites Creek, Tennessee. Browse their selection online anytime at batesnursery.com. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
Hey, Carol has a question on YouTube. Is now a good time to prune baptismal all the way to the ground? Maybe means baptisia.
Yeah, I
would
would.
be my guess. Mine, I did bring it all the way to the ground a couple weeks ago. I didn't have to cut it. I just basically knocked over everything that was up and it fell down.
I'm a forgetful gardener, so whenever I prune back, I don't prune them to the ground because I want to remember where they are. Because I'm real bad about doubling up and planting something where something was underground.
I resemble that. Yes.
That
it looks
is a
better
good
than a yellow
point.
flag in the ground, but
Yeah.
I'll leave a couple inches just so I trip over it.
Just so you know. I mean, with baptisia, like I have forgotten where I planted it. I have a lot of different varieties, and I'll have to get in there with my hands in the dirt, and then you'll see all those really healthy eyes coming up, and then I'm like, okay, that's where it is. And then I like to count how many more I have coming up this year compared to last year and the year before.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy. I love that
Absolutely.
plant. It is fantastic. All right, we've got a live question in on Facebook. Can you prune hellebore? We had a lot of ours laid down over the summer with the heat. Not sure if it will recover.
That's my daughter, and she's talking about her hellebore patch.
Oh.
Okay, so
I just pruned one to the ground. Yeah, I mean, it didn't have a great year last year, so it's not even trying to bloom, and everything's to the ground, and it was better to just cut it back. Had plenty of life so that it can kind of have a good year
As
this
long
year.
as it's those older leaves from the year before. Now, I
Right.
have a lot of new growth pushing up, newer leaves, and those buds that are just starting. So the stuff that's laying down the larger, older leaves, yes. But
Okay.
just make sure you're not cutting
Trim
any of
around
the
it.
new growth.
this
Yes.
time of year or wait until the summer?
You can do it now.
You can do it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just if it's got buds,
don't cut the flowers
don't
off.
cut the flowers
Don't
off.
cut the flowers off. You'd
Yeah.
be so sad. I mean, it would bounce back, but it would be a little bit unfortunate.
Okay.
We have comments, Tyler, that you rock.
You rock.
Thanks, y'all.
I wish we had a behind the scenes Tyler cam that was just on
It's just going to be
Tyler
me looking like
the entire
really.
time, just going real fast.
I'm just going to be looking really stoic and like really zoned in.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
It's
He wears a
amazing
cape
what he
back
could
there.
do.
It's
Yeah,
this
he's got a cape. And
this
a
new
superhero.
program is going to be really good. It's just I got to work out some of the kinks.
Yeah. I would have had a heart attack years ago if I tried to do what Tyler's doing.
Oh, that too many things going
Too
on
many
all
things.
at once. I
Incredible.
understand.
And then he chimes in and gives gardening advice. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about hydrangea. Tell me how to prune a limelight hydrangea. Planted my first one this spring, and I'm assuming it's time.
I mean, if it's a limelight and it gets big, I'm actually a big fan of cutting off almost all the growth that you have every year. I mean, just cutting off, if you had 2 feet of growth, I'll cut all of that off. Maybe back to the same place every year, maybe even just a little bit further, just to get it past those old cuts.
Yeah, I feel like
'Cause they will
limelight
bloom.
is one of those ones that you can cut anywhere,
Yeah.
and it will.
Some people will just cut the
bounce back.
blooms off. But
Right. Now,
My blooms are up.
And there's different rules for different kinds of hydrangeas, folks.
Correct,
so
Josh,
be
you're
careful. Limelight is what we're making that
They're
recommendation.
the
Yes.
most forgiving, so it's hard to
Yes.
give a bad answer for pruning on those.
Yeah, limelights
Yeah.
you can do anytime. Hey, speaking of that, I know Austin has a video talking about
Yes.
the different types of limelights, how to prune them and when to prune them, and that's going to be on our Bates Botanical Boot Camp series that you can find on YouTube. You can go to the Bates Nursery website, scroll down to find that link, but someone in this room does have another webinar coming up very soon. Who could it be? I don't know. I think it's Ben.
It's
Ben,
this guy.
What are you doing?
I was talking about, or I am going to be talking about, I was in the future talking about edible natives, just because I've had a lot of requests and we've had a lot of people all through the winter planting fruit trees and plants for next year. And then with the increased demand for planting natives, there's a lot of overlap there. And it's definitely a small category of readily available edible natives. And then there's a whole lot of medicinal plants, which is kind of its whole other category. So we'll kind of touch on a lot of that because we've had a lot of people just passionate about how to mix their edible gardening and their native habitat garden and how to find that.
Well, if you can get fruit off of an ornamental,
Yep.
why not, folks? I mean, come on. I mean,
Yep.
blueberries are gorgeous in the fall.
Yep.
I mean, what are you going to talk about pawpaws?
Talk about pawpaws. I mean,
That's not a particularly gorgeous tree.
It's not a gorgeous tree, but it's got an allure, I think,
Yes.
for
It
people
does, yeah.
who know about it. And the same with persimmon, but I think more people have had a persimmon than a pawpaw.
They're actually very stately when they're big. I love the persimmon.
Persimmon. I've got a persimmon. I got a ton of fruit last year,
Oh,
and I found pawpaws in my
Well,
woods.
in a landscape application, like I had one in a yard at home that we did, and if it hadn't been for the corgi dog eating all of this stuff around the base of the tree, they are a little messy.
Mhm.
Okay, and so you just got to keep it in mind. But it's a beautiful tree when it's growing.
Yeah. And a lot of those we don't get grafted onto like these dwarf
Mm-hmm.
root stocks like we do with more common things like apples. So you're dealing with a larger landscape tree. So just knowing how to use that.
It's very soft wood.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. Like a hackberry drops all the twigs. It didn't have that problem with it, so it's got a beautiful bark on it. So it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And you get some fruit.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited. There's a lot of, and I've kind of been, catching
Mhm.
the ear of folks down in the greenhouse that might know more about, with edible perennials and stuff. I mean, there's so much stuff, but there's a lot of stuff you can just pick right off the
Yep.
tree. So it's nice to know what you have around you and what you can add.
It's going to be a great webinar.
I'm
So
excited.
Yep.
make sure you check that out. You can register for it. You can tune in live. You can ask questions during the webinar, just like how we broadcast this, but you can also watch it at a later date, just like all of our other Bates Botanical Boot Camp webinars. They are all available for later viewing, and we have so many of them. But let's get to some more questions.
Okay.
Are there any veggies or herbs that I can plant in late winter or early spring?
plant them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so basically cooler weather vegetables and herbs. I mean, you could definitely do sage.
you're probably looking at,
Lettuces, radishes.
you're probably
Radishes.
looking at later in the month, though, I would think,
Right.
for a lot of those.
So more like early spring is what you're saying?
But all the cool season stuff. Here in Tennessee, it's do get it in past the heat in the summer, or do you get it in before the heat in the spring?
Right.
And,
Yeah.
it's all about timing for us. Although some of these things come up quick. I mean, my Old Faithful leeks come up fast.
Oh, you
now
love
they take a
your
long
leeks.
time to establish, and they'll grow through the warm season. But they'll germinate in cooler weather, and I believe a lot of our greens will germinate in cooler weather. Your kales and lettuce and stuff like that. Cilantro has a really short window here in Tennessee.
Yes.
So get that in early.
Yeah.
We don't have starts yet, but we'll probably start getting things here in end of February, March, as far as maybe some veggies. And
They do okay from
might.
seed, too.
yeah.
Cilantro does.
When we start getting those, that's a good sign that seeding is probably a few weeks prior to when we start getting the actual starts. So,
Yeah. And we base our arrivals off of the weather, so we don't have a set date to get it in. A lot of people are asking, when are those going to come in? But we don't want to bring stuff in too early. So if we're going to get this huge winter storm or a big freeze, our
Snow on
beautifully
tomato plants does not
wonderful
work,
buyer, Julie, knows when to bring them in. Love her.
We
Shout
try
out
not to hand y'all
Happy
a
late
problem
birthday, Julie.
without
it was
a
just
season
your
plan.
birthday the other day.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. All right, let's talk about pollinator garden beds.
Okay.
Someone says, I want to create a pollinator garden bed. Any tips? So like I was talking about with roundstone seeds, this is something that I am going to be tackling in spring. I've already started kind of prepping that area. What I'm going to do is just kind of lightly till the soil. I'm not going to get crazy. I'm not going to remove the grass that's already there. I'll just till it in just a little bit to the top inch. And then my plan is to spread seed, really pack it in, water it, put some straw down. And I'm just letting this go crazy. My goal with this is, for one, to have kind of a wildflower looking field, but also a habitat for all of our pollinators and little creatures. So once I have it going, my hope is just to let it do what it wants to do. I'm going to leave it up through the winter. I'm going to let all of those seed heads stay up. There'll be, structures for things that are overwintering for our pollinators. But yeah, I would say just like I talked about with Roundstone, how they have a great website where you can go on and you can specifically say what area you're looking for that. Or you can come in here, talk to us, get some seeds and get some perennial starts. But just kind of choose what you want. Maybe don't go too big, but make sure you have the ground prepped. You've got your area prepped. We're coming up on it, so we want to have our little plan already in action, and you can drop those starts in the ground or sow those seeds.
I think prep is a big
go
part.
wild.
Competition with weeds and stuff can be tough for natives. So trying to
They're hard to differentiate when they're young too. What is a weed and what is
it? Yeah.
So that's.
Well, we got a lot of stuff that'll come in on your
Yes.
flower plot. So a lot of people will solarize or put something down to kill off weeds.
I do that a lot. Black plastic, I'll lay it down just to kill all that grass and then kind of till that up.
Yeah.
But I've definitely been the person who has pulled up things I planted because I thought they were a weed. And I did that for 2 years with Mexican sunflowers. I would plant them and then I'd be like, they didn't come up. I had all these crazy weeds in the bed, and it took year 3 before I was like,
These weeds are everywhere.
This blooms later than everything else. And I had just for 2 years been pulling it out of the ground. So yeah, remember what you plant. It can get confusing sometimes, but
Absolutely.
I also have a webinar on wildflower gardening, so you could check that out on Bates Botanical Bootcamp. I show some examples of my garden beds that I've created, and I just go in depth for about an hour talking about that.
Joyce wants a BNBBC on weeds.
Oh,
Not a bad idea.
that's a good idea.
That could be arranged.
That could be that. That could
That
happen.
could definitely be
Okay.
done. Okay, landscaping around my new home. Is now a good time to plant trees and shrubs, or should I wait for warmer weather?
It's a great time to plant. We have a lot of stuff out here at Bates Nursery,
Yes.
especially
Foundation
evergreens.
plants. Yes.
Yeah, especially foundation plants, evergreens. Usually the bigger stuff is what we're really gonna keep around. Have a good stock of in the winter. So, and that's what I would start with: stuff around your house or bigger trees. Those are good things.
Perimeter plants, maybe. Now,
Perimeter plants.
where are you in construction? Are you completely done with construction? That would be a question that I would ask, because contractors and trucks and things are not kind to your landscape folks. So
You want to let the dust settle on trucks and machines and make sure your roof, make sure the shingles are on before
they
you
start
planting.
throwing them
Start planting.
around. Yes, the sheetrock, the mess that comes with it. This thing's going. Don't forget your lawn too, folks.
And often we do talk about how, don't go too crazy very quickly. Don't try to get all of those things in the ground at the same time. You don't have to get your trees, shrubs, perennials, and annuals in at one time. Like you could do this over a year. There's some stuff that will be better planted now than later.
And if you're in construction, and if you got your selection agent at your new home, if you're spending the kind of money that you're spending on your new home, talk to the selection agent. Don't just take the silver maple as the default. Let them get some input as to what it is that they're putting in.
It looks fun if they don't know, but if you do know, it kind of puts a little
right. I mean, just get some negotiation because the guys don't care. I mean, they're doing a much better job in new home construction with the landscaping than it was even 20-25 years ago, because it was 2 Nandinas and a silver maple for years and years. So
and maybe some hollies thrown in.
No, the hollies were expensive. They're not going to do that.
Really?
Nah, man.
Gosh, you see so many all around that are big and giant.
Maybe a barberry if you really got a custom builder. You got barberries. So,
All right, our final question of the morning: can I repot my houseplants in the winter? I need a plant project. Yes, you can repot them. I usually tell people to wait until the spring or summer to do it. Days are longer, it's warmer outside, and even if your plant stays inside year round, they still know the seasons. They still sense it. A lot of my plants in my home that I keep in there year round aren't really growing this time of year. So I let them, I say dormant, but I don't mean like die back all the way to the ground. I let them rest, and then come springtime is when I start looking at my plants, cleaning my plants, and thinking about repotting them and which ones I need to do. Now, if you're going crazy for a project, I mean, now is a good time to be cleaning those plants up, wiping your leaves down. They've been inside for quite a while if you did have them outside and you brought them in September. So they've probably accumulated some dust in your home. So you can go ahead, take that microfiber towel, moisten it a little bit, and wipe off those leaves. That also gives you time to inspect for any problems that might present themselves, mostly pests. So I would say go ahead and do that. Maybe wait for a little bit longer before you decide to repot, but you can do it now. I've done it. It's not detrimental to your plant. Hopefully, I mean, we always run the risk of losing something when we do these repots, but if you want to do it now, it should be okay.
Got one more snuck in here on us, though, before we get out of here. Jill wants to know, can she prune back hard burning bushes now? I would think it would be perfect time
Go for
to
it.
do it. Yeah.
Maybe use a sharp knife, but other than that, go for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, I guess we've expanded edition of the Gardening Inside Out program is coming to a close. We do appreciate your patience and participation. Hey, if you see us out there on any of the social media sites, like, shared, folks on Twitch, hey, we need to start getting some input from you too. But YouTube viewers, Facebook users, hey, we appreciate it, and we'll see you right here next Saturday morning for another Gardening Inside Out from Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
Thank you for tuning into the Gardening Inside Out podcast. If you're looking for more information or more from your hosts, don't forget that we have a live Saturday morning broadcast, 8 a.m. Central Time, on YouTube and Facebook. You can also follow us on our Instagram channel. That's @Gardening Inside Out for more posts, reels, and in-depth dives to topics and things we've discussed on the show. If our content resonates with you, consider giving us a follow, like, and subscription on all of our social media pages. See you next time.